Hi, it's Bricked Up Billy again. Yeah, like I said in the last tutorial, if you haven't checked out the channel, Game Wanderers, it's worth having a look at. It's pretty new, to be fair. We're uploading a few pranks and like political and topical debates and Q&A and all that stuff. But yeah, get people connected. Everyone will be happier. Anyway, it's neither here nor there. Right, yeah. So this is part 2 in a series of tutorials that I'm doing on Fallout. Specifically on settlement development. So I got cut off on my last one because I was probably jabbering on too much, but basically the perks, I'll do a quick run through of what I've got the gist of the perks to be. Like I say, I've done 3 or 4 attempts at this blooming game trying to get it right. This one seems to be going well. So perk for settlement building that you'll need, like I said before, the Scrounger perk is better than Fortune Finder. I've only got it in level 1 and it gets you loads of ammo. You know, you sell that. I mean, if you get 50 cal ammo, you sell it for like seven a pop. So it's worth getting over that, and you'll save money in finding it as opposed to buying it. And like I said, your hacking skill, you want that up, and your lock picking skill, just so you're not restricted in wandering around the wasteland. So yeah, they're the ones that are worth getting. Don't bother about getting the level 4 ones. You know, you only get locked out for 10 seconds with the computers, and as long as you have a look around, you'll never run out of bobby pins. They're pretty cheap to buy anyway. But yeah, and your armourer perks and your gunsmith perks, just purely because, especially if you're playing it on the harder difficulties, you're gonna need that extra edge just to survive walking 100 yards down the road, to be honest. But yeah, and the scrapper perk is essential. It really is, otherwise you're just going to be scrapless, basically. So yeah, another one which will help you, especially when you're wandering around, travelling and that, is, I can't remember where it is, hold on a sec, I'll just find it here. It identifies items that you are looking for when, actually, do you know what, I think it's the level 2 scrapper perk. Yeah, level 2 scrapper favoured highlight. Basically, say for example, right now I don't have any wood, so I'd go in my build mode when I'm in one of my settlements if I'm looking for wood, and I've got the level 2 scrapper perk. Say you want to build prefab, which is pretty handy actually, the prefabs, if you want to build ready-made houses like the 2-story ones. Anyway, and all you do, as you can see on my wood, it's got a little magnification, and as you can see at the bottom of the screen, it says R1 to tag for search. When you tag something for a search, if you've got the level 2 scrapper perk, any wood that you come along on your travels, I can't show you an example right now because I'm in my settlement, but basically, say I'm looking for wood or aluminium or copper or blah blah blah, whatever, you'll be walking around in a room and it'll have a green outline, so it makes it more visible, so you don't have to ransack the place and waste time and whatnot. So yeah, they're definitely worth getting. Oh, hold on, something's going down over it. It's probably dead. I've got about 10 turrets set up, but it's worth, like I say, everything is worth picking up. Oh no, it's still alive. What was it? Bear with me a sec, I'll get back to the mission in hand. Okay, whatever it is, it's gone. Right, yeah, it's gone. Also, a little random tip with these, when you're building turrets, turrets can be found on the defense section. And turrets, don't bother with these ones, they're so much crapper than these, and these aren't that much more expensive, well, much more resource demanding if you like to build, and they're more hardier and they produce free extra like defense, so, and they do generally do the job a lot better, obviously. Right, anyway, back to the point at hand. So a few more tips and pointers for settlement building. As you can see at the top, you've got like people, food, water, power, all that lot. The size of the settlement, this is something that confused me, don't know about you, but the size, the bar fills up not as you get more settlers, or as you get more food or water or power, the bar fills up as you build things. Literally, it's the content that you put in your settlement. Like, you could literally have a little square with one massive tower full of shit, and you can fill that bar up and still have all of this to build in. It's not really the surface area of the settlement, it's more, like I say, the content of the stuff that you've got in a settlement, so be mindful of that. And like I say, it helps if you have a general idea of what you want the settlement to be like and what you want it to like. It's really based on resources, really, and like as you get closer to the centre of the map and the southern parts of the map, you'll find that you'll focus more on like the defensive aspects of your settlements, and like popping up, I don't think I've got any in here, but popping up artillery and stuff like that to help you out in the field. But yeah, I've gone off on a tangent there, but yeah, yeah, the size, like I say, the size, once you you will literally run out of, you won't be able to build, it will stop you from building stuff, so yeah, just like make most of the space basically. And like, it's not so bad in Sanctuary, it's quite a wide building area, but in some settlements, like I'll show you in later episodes, they're quite small, like Hammond's Alley, Tenpenny's Bluff and stuff like that, Overland Station, and they're quite rocky, so you have to make use of the space. So like I say, it's always worth bearing in mind what you want the settlement to be. Like this one, like I said earlier, and the previous one is a hub. So yeah. And the happiness aspect will literally just depend on your resources. Defense depends. You'll generally find if you'll get less attacks. For every settler you have, you should have like 3 defense points. Really, the same. It's always better to have excess anyway, because like if you see on, like I've got 34 food, 24 water. Because I've only got 17 settlers, you'll find that a lot of the excess resources can be accessed in your workshop. Quality tune. But yeah, anyway, like corn, I've got an excess of corn. What else? Purified water is always handy. Yeah, so there's a few more other tips I'd say as well. If you want to get resources quickly, I think I mentioned it in the last part, is just traders. I think there's one trader who comes to Sanctuary, I can't remember her name, but she always stands round about here smoking a fag. She always has shipments of wood, usually, and Abernathy Farm, which is there in relation to Sanctuary. There's a trader there, so long as she survives when you take it over. She always has shipments of like wood, and basically imagine a shipment to be like a trading contract. You buy it, usually I think shipment of wood will probably cost you about 300 caps, and you'll have the shipment or a contract if you like. Come back to the settlement which you want to use it in, open, and where you can see the blanked out tab, store all junk, just do that, and the contract or part or agreement or whatever will go into your workshop, and you can use the resources. So yeah, I'll like this, I don't know, I mean generally make your settlement how you like, but I mean this is my Sanctuary one. Like, you've got the bar up here, shops. Why is she still on the bloody roof? Right, anyway, yeah, you've got like shops. Shops can be built, like that's a level 3 one. You need trade routes, really. What to start with? I think trade routes are probably worth discussing now, to be fair, because they are quite complicated, and apparently it's easier on the PC. In fact, I'm even tempted to buy a PC. Just, I don't know, consoles doing me head in, but like on the PC you can literally just access your like a drop down tab of your settlers and assign them through there. But with the consoles, it's a right mission. You've got to locate your provisioners, which is what, like, say, well, I've got a settler here. Yeah, if I go into my workshop mode, you can assign him a supply line. Now I'll not do it because I've got one set up, but say I was to send him to Sunshine Tidings, he would then become a provisioner Now I don't know about the PC, but on the consoles it's irreversible. Once they're a provisioner, you can't change them back. You can assign them to another job, but they will never really do it properly, and they end up just sort of standing around, and your happiness goes down and other such things. So what are you pointing your gun at? And yeah, your provisioners basically, I found after many cock-ups basically, the easiest way to set up your trade lines, like I say, if you want to assign a provisioner, it's best to have a starting point. Like Sanctuary was the hub. I started all my trade routes from there and they finished there, and you can interlink them as you discover more, but we'll discuss that later anyway. But basically, after assigning a provisioner, you click that, like, it's best to send them from base to base, like a general rule of 1 in, 1 out. Like, you can see your supply lines. If you see on your map there's a tab, press L1 or the left shoulder button on the Xbox. I don't know what the tab is for the PC, but basically that shows you supply lines. Now, when I first started, it was more like a scat graph or a bloody spider web with the right mess, and you get glitches like the Brahmin are just bloody annoying. Like, he just like transcends through the fence somehow. I don't know, he was like, I can't walk through him, but he seems to get through the fence. So they are quite glitchy, and your provisioners, if you decide to say have a central trading hub and have all your provisioners going into one place, it'll be a mess. Don't do it. And like with the entrance to your settlement, it's always best to leave a little bit of room for the Brahmin and your provisioners to get in and out, because if you've got, it's best to have no more than two provisioners coming in and out of any one settlement, depending on the size, because like I say, the Brahmin are just glitchy as hell, and it'll just piss you off. You'll just be standing there and be deafened by mooing and not be able to move. So yeah, it's best thing to do is just 1 in, 1 out. Like, I think I started off with like 5 people in Sanctuary, and I sent one of them. I think I originally discovered these 4, but as you go along you just edit it. I'll show you how to do that later, but or a simple way of doing that later. But basically, like, I had one from going from Sanctuary, and then I went to Sanctuary to Abernathy Farm, and then I went to I fast travelled to Abernathy Farm, sent one of the residents of Abernathy Farm down to Oberlin Station. Again, fast travelled to Oberlin Station and sent one of the Oberlin Station residents to Hangman's Alley, so on and so forth. 1 in, 1 out. And, you know, clockwise, anti-clockwise, it doesn't matter, just so long as it's a chain. That's the essential thing. And it will collect, like, I'll be able to access any junk that I've got stored in Sanctuary, even if I'm at Greentop Nursery, just purely because of the trade lines. I would say another thing, it is probably worth kitting your provisioners out with some decent gear. Just use stuff that you find on enemies and stuff. Do you know what I mean? I'd say don't really sell anything you find. Try and scrap it. And like I say, if you develop your settlements properly, the trading revenue you get is more than enough, and you'll find that you won't need to sell anything anymore. In the early stages, obviously, like, pick up like road levers and shit like that, just stuff that you can carry, and you'll get a decent wedge for it. But I'd say, yeah, I'll give you an example. I'll go to Starlight Driving. It's probably the best place. No doubt. I don't know if anyone else finds this. I'd be interested if you leave a comment or what. I'd be interested to see if anyone else has experienced it. But whenever I go to Starlight Driving, there's always some shit going down. Like, it's never peaceful. I don't know. It might just be a glitch in my game or what. It's quite convenient, to be honest. You get loads of like gear and what, but yeah. So we'll see what happens. But basically, with your provisioners, oh, there we go. Hold on. Now I've said it, I bet nothing happens. Oh no. Yep, something is out there. What is it? Let's sort this out. As long as it's not a death claw, it's all good. Oh, it's only a raider.